blessed love, salam to each and everyone. Blessed love to the royal family internationally. We glorify the life giver and the keeper of life. We give thanks for your presence with us at this moment. Even as we are entering into the coronation moment, we glorify Negus and Nagas. We give thanks when it's coronation. We have to remember that it was the King of Kings that was coronated, and the Empress of the Empresses was coronated with the King of Kings. So this is the time we glorify and give thanks for that balance, the father and the mother of creation. Yes, royal family, of course, you're in the tiger's nest. Anywhere we are, we're definitely in the tiger's nest. Just encouraging each and everyone to visit our website, priestisaacinstitute.com, for more information as it relates to the upcoming Patrons Day. That is very important, the 5th of November. Remember, we are scheduled to have a beautiful sit down on that day when we're going to have Welcome to the House of Priests, meeting Rasta Round Table. We're going to have members from the EABIC, specifically from the Council of Elders, and of course, our regular Rasta Round Table, the members from the EWF, and of course, the Naya Bingi House, the Orthodox Church. And we're going to be having a wonderful sit down and reasoning on two main topics. We want to speak about, first of all, our economical state of affairs as Rastafari going forward. And we also want to have a theological discussion to our theological state of affairs. To me, the two main things of Rastafari, we are spiritually rooted and we are realistically rooted too, as it relates to food, clothing, shelter, what some people call politics, reality, our economic state going forward. So it's very interesting too, because the program we have this evening is somewhat prepping us for that sort of discussion, really. We have members, we definitely have members of the EABIC for sure with us, and everyone can see that. But this evening, we are gathered together to reason about another organization that is very integral to Rastafari, especially at this moment and at this time. It's an organization that many may be hearing of for the first time. It is the Rastafari Mansions Organization. I know anyone that is, a part of Rastafari for a decade plus, you would know that Rastafari from time to time, rightfully so, would have attempted to organize, centralize, to keep up the standard that His Majesty gave us. We do have our organized groups that we need to applaud: the Naya Bingi Theocracy Order, Bobo Shanti Order, the EWF, the 12 Tribe. I mean, over the years, these groups have organized themselves and would have stamped themselves, on history. That's why we can still mention them. But those of us who are, forward thinking, we see the reality and the need for the brotherhood and the sisterhood to become a bit more gummy. We don't want to be divided, via these tribal lines and these labels, etc., because we're all human beings. We're all seeking a similar goal, similar targets. We have the same ideas of repatriation. We have the same ideas of health and wellness. We all want to edify our children as it relates to their Afrocentricity. We all speak of reparation. So we all basically, as the songs say, in the same boat. So it only seems to me as the civilized thing to do, to organize and bring us together as Rastafari. Because, some of us, we run from organization, but we'll still gather together on the corner. We can still meet on the bus and, hey, Bingy, what you say? Hey, Bobo, long time in the city, and we still talk. But okay, that's good. We still share. I bring some carrots for you, you bring some bananas for me. But let us now organize it officially, register it. Let us form our executive. Let us know, okay, this is the chairman, this is the representative, this is the PRO, and let us form an organization that when we come to the world, they know, hey, Rastafari is united. Now, as I said, I have seen this attempted several times, and there are even organizations that are still around that hold a certain semblance of unity. I remember the days of CRO, which is still an organization that is still pushing. I know in Trinidad, I think you have the All Mansions organization, which is also striving for that unity amongst Bobo Shanti, Bingi, and 12 tribe. So I think we reached to a point, because to be honest, when that push of unity began, there were a lot of naysayers amongst Rastafari, especially those of us who were very dogmatic and religious. But I must say that seems to be going to the back of the class, which is very important, because we need space now for more level thinking and realistic, outlook for the future. So I am very honored that I could even host the brothers this evening who are representing this group that we are going to be discussing about, this organization, Rastafari Mansions, Rastafari Mansions Organization. I hope I have the name correctly. That is RMO. Now I have two members of the RMO here. The RMO is a big organization. It just so happens that the two members, like myself, are members of the Ethiopia Africa Black International Congress, the EABIC. But of course, as I said, they will also be representing the Rastafari family on a whole this evening, and giving us an idea of exactly what the RMO is all about, and giving us some ideas of the members and the different offices that are within this structure. So again, I would like to say blessed love to Honorable Priest Lamont and Honorable Priest Douglas Smith, one Ras Havana, with us right here in the Tiger's Nest. My brothers, blessed love. I'm not seeing King Dougie, Priest Lamont, but blessed love, blessed love.
Blessed love, my Lord. Honorable. Thanks again for being the place.
Give thanks, give thanks. Well, I know, Honorable Priest Lamont, you are one of the rotating chairmen of this organization. So we could begin with yourself. When you begin, I think I would mute my mic just for the best clarity. Give us an idea, of what the RMO is about, and so we can edify the populace on exactly the mission of the RMO moving forward. As I said, especially those of us who are Ras, we would have heard of several organizations that would have risen up, and I would repeat, rightfully so, to bring a unity amongst us. And some of them are still around, So give us an idea of what the marching orders as such of the RMO, what may be different, or how it's going to collaborate with these bodies already put together. Just give us an idea, and then we'll take it from there. Honorable Priest Lamont, blessed.
Thank you very much, Honorable Priest. Welcome. To be on Radio Anno again, Radio Anno TV, in the Tiger's Nest. Greetings to our listeners, far and wide. All right, I'm going to give an overview of the RMO. And the RMO means the Rastafari Mansions and Organizations. By mansion, we talk about the main houses, the main group of Rastafari brethren and sisters that are coming from that time of the beginning of the movement in Jamaica. And that would talk about the 19th Theocratic Reign and the Ethiopia Africa Black International Congress and the 12 Tribes of Israel. Now, there is also new mansions that are organizations that have come about. And of course, we talk about the School of Vision and the House of Dread, which are some of the more founded groups that have come along, and then, of course, there are organizations like Can Cure, House of Seba, Starscape, Leonard Howell Foundation. We have the Claudius Henry, which is Peacemakers. We also have groups like, when I said School of Vision, we have the Coral Garden Benevolent the Rastafari God Benevolent Society. You also have the Empresses of Zion. We have the Rastafari Indigenous Village. I hope I've not left out any Starscape. I said Canacure. There are about 13 of us so far, 13 groups that have already signed the RMO ratification document. The RMO is an umbrella group that aims to present Rastafari causes with a one voice, unity. And that has been hastened and upon us, because when we try to represent the Rastafari cause in getting the rights of Rastafari to the government and the wider society, there's the situation of unity. And because, as you know, we are many, as you've heard, groups and nations, it requires a one voice so that there is not confusion or multiplicity of presentations in negotiating for the same end. So rather than having this motion going to the government, say we are defending this rights, then next month another one approach the government. Sometimes the same idea, sometimes the same idea with different approaches. And for that reason, we have been studying, and we have been technically victimized too, especially by government agents when we try to approach for the Rastafari. We were always told that we are not united. It's hard for them to make any kind of decision or declaration about the rights of Rastafari. About 2 years ago, in 2021 early, the government had a vision of creating a digital currency. And in so, they contacted the Nairobi House. You know, after some amount of reasoning and deliberation with them, it was discovered that the situation that was at hand required the idea and opinion of all the Rastafari nations and organizations. And I would say all Rastafari, as many as we could get to voice their opinion. And so there was the contact made to the various organizations that could be identified. And we came together to discuss that digital currency. They wanted to use IRI.
IRI, yes.
Yes.
I remember that.
We wanted to use the word IRI. The suggested name was IRIDEX. That's the name they told us that was chosen after they did a survey. And the name that came up with the greater support was IRIDEX. And so when they tried to register it, they were told that IRI is a Rastafari intellectual property rights. So that is how they called us. They contacted the Rastafari, community via the Nairobi House. And we were called together. We discussed for some maybe months. We had our different opinion idea about being a part of a government money system. Money can be used for many, many reasons. Some could be very spurious, some could have negative implications. So, like the EABIC, which we are very people, and we told the group that whilst we were going to object, if the other mansions that agreed, we would not be signatory. However, there were those elements among the Rastafari who were not a part of the gathering thought they had some amount of authority, and they wrote the bank saying that that they are objecting to the whole terms, and that was it. But it's good for us to be reasoning together as Rastafari, because after so many years, that was the first time we have been sitting together, different groups of brethren, and it was quite harmonious, and suggestions were quite defined and sound progressive, and we thought that rather than I am just going forward to our previous state of our separate manners, we would continue to read and see how we create a synergy. We take the Rastafari cause to the forefront, and out of that came the RMO, Rastafari mansions and organizations, because we all thought that it's good for us to be together. King Emperor Haile Selassie, our divine, Haile Selassie the first, our divine teacher, and our God King, and that was his command that we organize and centralize, and such a slogan was echoed every time we meet, and we realize that it was the general thought of all Rastafari brethren and sisters that were gathering, and we stuck together and we created the RMO. And today, RMO, as I said, is an umbrella organization aiming to deal with all aspects of the Rastafari rights. And we are not limited to groups and organizations. We are open to Rastafari, even the youth that is walking out there in the street is welcome to be a part of the RMO and to voice your opinion. RMO has its different offices in place. We have our chairman. So that's myself, Sister Nani, Ras Abidan in this as the chair, and of course there's the secretariat with Ras Wolde, who's admin and digital media personnel, and he's backed up by Celia. We are still seeking 2 more persons to assist in the secretariat. Just today, I managed to got confirmation from another person who I will bring to the meeting later. Of course, we have now secured a person to work with the secretariat. As you know, it's a tall job. It is much, and so we have our treasury, and that is governed and managed by Honorable Raspire and Canacure, Honorable Ras Daniel from the Coral Guard Benevolent Society, Rastafari Benevolent Society, Honorable Sue from the BIC. There is also the Public Relations Committee, and that is monitored by Honorable Michael Barnett, Dr. Barnett, and King Mao Japan, and there's also Honorable Raskosi, Jasmine, and also Ravolde. There is another Ganja committee, Rastafari Ganja Growers Grassroots Ganja Growers Association, which is with dealing with the whole matter of the sacramental rights and some other things. They are presenting an ecosystem that is hinged on old Rastafari sacramental rites of Rastafari. That committee is monitored by Rastas from the Rastafari indigenous village, and Ras Marcus, part of our legal team. Ras King Kamau and I as well, Ras Lagos from his house. I hope I mentioned him in talking about the mantras that I've signed on. There is also Ras Abidan, part of the house, and there's also Sister Mitzi from the Nine House. And Ras Bayon, Ras Veron, and I, Priest Lamont. There was, yes, right, I think that's it for the Raga committee. We also have the events committee.
Honorable priesthood. Honorable priesthood,
yes, he is part of he's in some other committees. He is not a part of the Raga, but as you know, all the committees that we anyone that wants to come and share and listen. And so we have in the treasury, I mentioned the treasury. In the treasury, there is the honorable students, and in the treasury, Honorable Rasbaya, Honorable Ras Daniel, Honorable Stute. I did mention that. In the event committee, there is Ras Abidan, Mao, Sister Tia, and there is also Priest Douglas and Jabali Siba. Maybe there have been changes. So sometimes a few names might have been should have been mentioned. In the advocacy committee, there is Sister Nanny, Bunk James, Maker, Sister Nanny for Choir God, Rastafari Choir Society, and myself, Honorable Ras Abidan, Honorable Priest Toot, and Honorable Ras Woody. There might be other advocacy committee as well. There's also the Business and Intellectual Property Committee, which is Honorable Kwasi, Honorable Ras Marcus Goff, Ras Wolde, Ras First Man, and Ras Bayer. So we talk about the repatriation, the reparation committee, one of the very important committees in the RMO, and that is headed by myself, Honorable Bismont, Honorable Priest Two, Honorable Ras First Man, Honorable Ras Michael Barnett, Honorable Ras Marcus Goff, Sister Mitzi, and Ras Kwasi. Once there's the fundraising committee, still needing more people. The harvest is ripe, the laborers are few, so we are still searching for individuals. We have Kwasi and Ras Daniel in the fundraising committee. I think so Priest Toot is a part of that team, and possible Ras Bayer. But I know that the treasury and the fundraising committee, they work very closely together. So the members of those two committees are very interrelated and overlap. So there might have been a fundraiser that I am not remembering of. But basically, those are the committees that we have in place. And of course, we are still young and much more to be developed. But so far as it stands, we have the main offices in place that should take us forward with what we call due diligence and protocol operation. So the ARC is in the process of putting itself out there wide, because we are still not known. We are heard of in many sectors. We want to be present in the eyes and the mind, the homes of Rastafari everywhere in the privies and corners. So we have now planned as of Africa Hall meetings that I'm going to be dealing with from parish to parish. We may have one as early as 29th of this month. We will get it going. It's in the making. And then this will be bringing to the general public what we have been doing. And there is much that we have accomplished, especially when we talk about the harassment that Rastafari brethren are facing on the streets. And we have managed to reason with the Ministry of Justice and also the Ministry of Security, National Security, concerning the harassment that we are facing, not just for ganja, but other things too. And we're in the process of dealing with matters like victimization and what we call our students are facing a lot of difficulties when they, and some of our workers, those who chose to work in the systems. So these things we are dealing with. And we have managed to get some mileage when it comes to our sacramental ganja rights, because that is a part of the Rastafari tradition. Most Rastafari, some may smoke, but we all use it as medicine, as different things. So we managed to get them to stop their harassment and certain charges that were still being brought against us, even though there is amendment. And once me listen to Minister Kosher making a statement, supposed to be in the media, and made some days ago in Montego Bay, and she pointed out the things that we accomplished comes to harassment and the rights to go and to possess. So is doing things, and we need support of our brothers and sisters out there, and the blessing of all Rastafari brethren in the street.
So let me come in the honor of my Lord. Give thanks. So, well, you surely you gave us a clear rundown of the different members. Of course, there's just a slight thing with the mic, but I know the audience can still pick up everything that you're saying. But let me just, apologize for the little reverb in the background. But I know those who are concentrating would have picked up everything that you're saying. But just for my interest, though, I know, well, at least, okay, taking this in now for myself, I see you have several different organizations. I'm happy to hear Claudius Henry's name kept alive, Leonard P. Howell. We have the Coral Garden Benevolent Society. What I'm noticing here is that we are, Rastafari is a spiritual and theological, also other things when it comes to who we are looking forward. But what I notice here, we have a cross-section of ideological outlooks, meaning that I haven't necessarily heard, I could be wrong, the Nyabingi Theocracy House, although I know that in Jamaica, like some of these different organizations that you would have mentioned, obviously, a lot of the members are members of the Nyabingi Theocracy House. So maybe what I'm getting at here, because you already said, we know that there are those who may be saying, well, we need a new group, or well, we tried that already. We know that. So, and we're not upset. We expect that. But is this a case where an individual can individually join the RMO, or it has to be a consensus of the group to join? That's number one. And how international is the group? When I say how international, I obviously see a strong national aspect with Jamaica for sure. I know that different groups all around the place. Even here, a few people, you have a group they call the One Love. you have the Big Creek group, and they basically Nyabingi. So as time moves on, I see there's this splinter, especially amongst, not to say, let's say Nyabingi, where they create different organizations. So how international is it now as such for other members in the world? Yourself or
I want to take the point about the Nyabingi theocratic.
Because,
of course,
to be realistic, at least with my coming up, a lot of these things were championed by the Bingi house. I guess it's maybe where I grew up amongst Rastafari. There was a time, a lot of Bubba would say, well, you have to come under this banner here, or it's not going to work. But again, as time is moving on, you see a slight different outlook in many ones. Yes, my lord.
As I said, the Bingi House was instrumental in the old RMO creation. And of course, they are always present at the table. They might not be signatory as yet. Oh. And like I said, Honorable IRV in our meeting first week gave an update, and it gave good assurance that the Bingi House would be signing the RMO ratification document very soon. When we talk about being a group of praise and worship, we see Rastafari individually or collectively as a praise and worship movement. Even one individual, one Rastafari sister is a praise and worship representative. And of course, I mentioned earlier that an individual is free to come to the RMO. So let us say the youths out there are not affiliated. And most of the time when we negotiate, we express about those brethren and sisters that are non-affiliated. I remember in one of our last meetings with the Delroy Chuck, the Minister of Justice, that came up, and we pointed out that whatever we negotiate is being negotiated for every single Rastafari sister or brethren. You don't have to be affiliated, because of course we know that there are those that will take some time, and then they will see the work because of course, under precise that the Rastafari community internationally has been trying to unite itself. Even further, from 1966, when Kenya Haile Selassie I came, he spoke about that. Okay. That's something that we recognize as far as going, to the 1950s. The need for the perfect unity, the blending, King Emmanuel, the jelly, the gumminess. So that is something that we are aware of. And we know that other attempts have been made to unite Rastafari, and for whatever reasons they have not worked properly. But we see the RMO is moving into regions and domains where others are. So there is all the hope and assurance that the RMO is going to assail all obstacles and all hurdles, and be that what we call perpetual voice, growing in strength from age to age, to charter the Rastafari, because it's open to every single Rastafari brethren or sister to come and be part of the unity. So to merchants and organizations. An individual can come and represent his or herself to the RMO. Internationally, we of course that right now the voice of unity is echoing everywhere.
Yes.
Because of course the turmoil of the world is showing clearly that no man can be an island. We are going to need our brothers and our sisters to really forge these turmoil times. And so in a lot of places, we were on a platform on Sunday. The Elders Council had a platform where we were speaking with Honorable Prince married, you know, in the royal family. And Honorable Kesbar Sabo, one of our own Baba Ashanti brethren that has been living in Ethiopia for over 30 years. And on that forum, there were those brethren, the General Tau were there. The talk of unity is the talk, creating Rastafari government. And of course, on other forums too, the importance of Rastafari brethren and sisters in every location globally need now to put aside whether your red is up or red is down, or you're a Sabbath keeper, or you have a Trinity, or you are just looking at Abraham as the first. And we need to make those we call personal internal principles, not crowd out the wider reasons to unite, because there are so many issues that are paramount to our longevity. We need now to put aside some of our personal internal principles. And I have to say expressly that RMO is aiming to direct the internal affairs of nations and organizations. The RMO is aimed at dealing with common issues, like talk about our rights there in the street, our cannabis rights, or several other rights that are different from our internal principles. And internationally, the RMO is being known and heard of wide and far. And of course, there are arrangements made for ones from other unity groups in different parts of the world. I have been approached by the Honorable Ansley, who made the request for their representative, because in Trinidad there is a one voice organization going on in the Bahamas, that program, and it's on when we're going to have the Caribbean of government reasoning in the Bahamas some months ago. There was a large gathering and several different unity groups were there. And of course, we talked about a secretariat, which was mentioned also in our last platform that we were on, that what we are encouraging brethren to do is to create their unity movement in their local, and then get the secretariat to unite with the RMO. Of course, the RMO has a significant position because it's the Jamaican Rastafari in Jamaica. And I wouldn't want to call it Jamaican Rastafari because we don't like to hold on to that Jamaican identity. But Rastafari in Jamaica, being the cradle of publication, we hold that recognition. And of course, it is incumbent on Rastafari in Jamaica to be quick and decisive in making that unity voice and leading from the front, that other Rastafari in the global space can see that we are organized, because it's very important that the Jamaica Rastafari in Jamaica unite and speak to the Jamaican government, because when we must observe and see that His Majesty King Emperor talk late charter in Jamaica. So ones are looking forward to Jamaica. to lead the unity chart for other groups to metal and unite with the Rastafari international. So that's what
positive. All right, give thanks. I think the family getting a good idea. Honorable Priest Dougie, I know for sure you are one of the advisors of the RMO. I had a question here, but I think I got it answered, and if I'm not mistaken, there's a unity that we are calling for. Well, there's a unity already amongst us in different places. And from what I'm gathering from the Honorable Priest Lamont, in the very near future, we are hoping to gel that unity that is already there. Again in Trinidad, I know you have the All Mansions, you have the Caribbean Rastafari organization, and I know there are different places where you see the brotherhood, in places in Africa where these groups are not as foundational. You have a few man that kind of move big, you have a few man that rap in the head, and them man are looking for no division. Them man together, they come together, Sabbath time, Sunday time, they worship, them man beat any drum with any color. They already united. They're not hoping for no staunch, dogmatic bubble to come in and say, no man, you can't deal with them man because them man had a red wrong. So what I'm saying, since we already start that energy there, and as the Honorable Priest Lamont just said, yeah, I would agree that the most of the world would be kind of looking for kind of strength out of Jamaica there. So I'm just looking futuristic. I myself am learning a bit about it here at the moment. I'm kind of maybe trying to peep the goals, trying to peep maybe the future targets, especially when it comes to the unity and the brother and the sisterhood internationally. So if there's already a clear path to that, which could be shared, if not is understood, because I think the priest kind of clearly made it known. Wherever there are groups coming together, that's good. Once they get themselves organized and we can get our secretariats to come together and we form a bigger group, that's the impression I'm getting here, and we go forward to our different. Because before you even come in, Priest Dougie, I think two things were said earlier that kind of caught me. I remember the conversation with the IRI, the whole money thing. And it shows now, because from what I'm getting, we were not at the table, but it just shows how much power we have. We have sleeping power. That fella's trying to make a whole economy. And somebody say, hey, you can't go away with that. That belongs to the Rastaman them. I mean, that is like something else. And they had to come and wake us up and say, we need your help. And also, what was also mentioned by Priest Lamont, I think when y'all went to the Minister of Defense, if I'm not mistaken, and he clearly showed you that, hey, listen, y'all need to be more united, because one person come with this, and the next person come with that, and the next person come with that. And we can talk about Bobo, Biggie, 12 tribe all day, but in many societies, like right here in Antigua, it's Rasta they see, So if they want to add a bit to that, Honorable Priest Dougie, or anything else you want to put in as advisor to this August body here.
Yes, Honorable. Well, these moves are long overdue, and they're not new moves. Before I get into a little bit of the history so people can understand the fullness.
Sure.
Last year, during October, which is Heroes Month in Jamaica, the Jamaica government invited the Crown Council, the Ethiopian Crown Council, to Jamaica as part of their 60th anniversary festivities. And when I say 60th anniversary, it's 60 years since Jamaica been so-called independent, which we don't say that is a fallacy anyway. Anyway, that's a story for another day. But they brought him in, and one of the headlines that was captured is the prince saying that he's disappointed in the disunity of Rastafari.
Remember that? I did a whole show on that.
Yes. So it shows you how much they have been using that excuse among themselves to not do the proper thing, the right thing. Because we're in which people try to emphasize this disunity among us. It is only a perception that has been built by Babylon. Why I say this? I have never been disunited with my brethren. I attend Nyabingi for years. I'm considered an honorary Nyabingi. I sit with Ras Ayavi and Ras Ivai and Bongo Joe and Bongo Mani and the whole family, Sister Mitzi, Sister Yanzi, Mama Shanti before she passed. Our family, we always meet up. And we always meet up in love and unity. My 12 tribe brethren, my partner right here right now is our executive 12 tribe, Rastabulani Tafari. Of
course.
We've been powering together for over 30 years, never left one another, never fall out of unity. So it's a false perception that has been painted for them to benefit from it, because the society in Jamaica benefits from I and I not being so-called united. Because then our voice is not heard. It's ignored. Now, to give you a little history.
Yes, sir.
Prior to 1966, between 66 and 69, Rastafari was one entity. When ISIS was called in say, Davis Lane by the 12 tribes, every Rasta come. Because at the time it wasn't even 12 tribe, it was local 40 something.
Yes.
Either local 45 or something like that, I think it was named. Then if round 8th Street now round a Watto, something called every man round there. Watto himself tell I says many times Dada, King Emmanuel, riding bicycle, come check him. And them sitting on them bun chalice and reason.
Me tell you.
Yeah, round a Kume, Martimo. Yeah. And then now round the father, King Emmanuel, round a place them call Nazareth. Them call it Nazareth because it's there so the man rise up, the Dreadlocks Army. That was where the Dreadlocks visage became concretized.
That's it, right.
Now, 1958, the convention is the highest form of unity ever existed in Rastafari. So when we speak about this unity, one needs to know the fullness of what I and I is really saying. We have been infiltrated, and we have some infiltrators among us, some fifth columnists that they are dissemblers and dispersers. And they have been strategically placed among us to cause havoc among us, to keep us from seeming united. 1958, without the entire family being united, that convention, that historical Nyabingi Groundation Convention could not have been a fullness. Center Fox provided majority of the food. Every group did something for that conference to go on, my lord.
True, man.
Those things don't happen in a vacuum. Understand? So people have to understand this. Rastafari has always been united. Now again, what has separated I and I as well is our religiosity. Rastafari rise up as an anti-colonial movement, a resistance movement, but has been co-opted somewhere along the lines by a lot of the senior members that came in on the second wave were from different religious institutions and brought their way with them.
Yes.
So they form groups with a more faith-based function versus a resistance function. The resistance function was the first set of ones them that rise up, like Leonard P. Howell with Pinnacle, Alexander Bedward with Union Camp, Bongo Watto with Sons of Thunder and House of Bonagees. Sons of Thunder and House of Bonagees were some of the first set of Rastafari rise up out of Bakawa. And they were not only anti-colonial, they were anti-Bible. A lot of them was anti-Bible because at the time when I and I was rising up as youth, I and I rejected the King James Version. There is even a song by Max Romeo that depicts that. You understand? You gave I King James Version. King James was a white man. Now give I Maccabee Version. Because I am a black man. Yeah. So there was even songs that depicted our expression, how we feel and what we were defending at the time. So it brings us now in this time, the 21st century. With technology, with information so prevalent, those who stand against unity are looking ridiculous. Yes, because if Haile Selassie the first is our Redeemer, King, Creator, he mandated that I and I must organize and centralize. Now, the reason why organizations are becoming less impactful today is because this is the time of centralization and we are running behind in that process. If the organizations had voluntarily centralized, then you would have seen a more powerful movement today. But late as it may be, the time is now or never. And because of that, we are not only willing to come together, we are forced to come together or face extinction. The world is at a crossroads. We are facing global warming. We are facing our food security is being threatened. Our water security is being threatened. Our very lives are being threatened. Coming out of what them call a pandemic the other day, even though a lot of it was men orchestrated. But we are able to see what can happen when there's a dilemma like that. And as Rastafari, we remain at the mercy of the same system that we reject.
Sitting ducks.
When a storm blow here in Florida and the food stores are not able to open, it is the government that have to come and set up some little things outside there and give out food and water and everything, you know. And I is the last on that totem pole to get any assistance. Because up to now, we have not come to the point that only through unity and solidarity, like what the RMO is proposing today, can we survive it. Because we have to be able to fund our own revolution, family. That is one of my today's sayings, the popular saying of I today. If we are not willing to fund our own revolution, we will never be truly free. If we are under the keep and care of a system, how can we be rebelling against it in the way that we claim to be rebelling against it when it's the same system now have to feed and provide health care and all of those things? The ancient Rastaman wasn't under the system, you know. The ancient Rastaman stepped out of the system. He lived on the periphery, on the outskirts of society. He survived off the land and nature. The Almighty God was his protector. But we have infused ourselves into the system because times have changed and many things have changed. And assess it how you may. Survival, we have become more enlightened, educated, intelligent, whatever it is. But evolution has taken place and we find ourselves intertwined in the system. So when it rocks, we rock with it. Today, we need to come away from that. That is what the RMO is proposing today. That we come away from that type of structure and start to now look form institutions of our own. Health institutions of our own. Agricultural institutions of our own. Create our own seed bank to make sure that we don't have to use the GMO seed. We can maintain our indigenous landrace seeds and not use the hybrid ones. Our health system, we have whole heap of Rastafari doctors now and nurses and health practitioners of all kinds. We no longer need to look to them.
All over too.
So we need to now be structuring ourselves with a system like the RMO, in which we have different departments that deal with different issues that affect our lives. And we have competent people in there. We have a food co-op. We have a storehouse where we know, say, if something happens, we can send food to our family that need it. Wherever, if something happens in St. Lucia or something happening there in Antigua, we in Jamaica are supposed to can send a shipment of whatever to assist the item till the item can jump on the item foot again. That is how we see the rest of the world work.
Like in Vinci
and we live in the world. We live in the world, family. We don't live outside of the world. We don't live in a bubble. But when something reach anywhere and our Rastafari family is affected by it, we say we have to beg, go fund me, this, that. Things that was never Rastafari. We have regressed, family. With education and technology, we have regressed. So the younger generation of what we call junior elders that is taking up this RMO trad, which I and I, the senior elders, are happy to see because we have fought so much battles. We don't have the energy to do what this generation that is taking it up has. We can just sit and rock little and give them some advice because true, we have the experience. We can give them the experience, you know. But we need their strength to come and move the hurdles, move the barriers out of the way that we can develop for ourselves. So we applaud the RMO. We applaud, people like Priest Lamont, people like, Desmond Kwasi, Marcus Goff, First Man, Empress Mitzi, all of those that are sitting around the table. We applaud them for the stability. I was at the table from the onset, from the Iridex incident when they first reached out to the Nyabingi house.
Yes.
Rasaya call I and show I what's going on, and had I come to the table and I was there with them, seeing the thing through. Here again, I am gonna end my little talk with this. You had an umbrella organization called the RMC, Rastafari Millennium Council.
I was just going to ask you about that. That's exactly where I was coming into. But okay, go ahead.
Yeah, my brethren, I'm a brethren, one of my bona fide brethren, God bless him soul, Junior Manning, who was the brain behind that, was the brain power behind that, the first chairperson of it. See? When he had that concept, I and him was in Washington at the opening of the Rastafari exhibition, and we were at Aile Garami restaurant. Zanzibar on the river.
Zankova.
And he took us outside on the boardwalk and he shared his idea with I and I. And we glorified it and told him that we pledged to support no matter what. And I see he went back home to Jamaica and he manifested it.
Pause.
Then, like everything else, it was infiltrated and hijacked. People come from overseas that claim that they were not interested in Rastafari business, but were just interested in reggae IP rights and other things. Got involved in it. And before you know it, them overturn it. Sister Mitzi was the last official, legal chairperson of it, which we all endorsed. And she was overthrown and replaced by elements that the community, the wider family, did not support. And since that, those people that replaced her passed on, and a handful of ones, not even a handful, about 3 people, have continued to call themselves Millennium Council and been a disturbance in I&I development. Case in point again, the Iridex prospect. When IOJ approached, we sat down as a family. For the first time, it was all of us at the table. That was what was so beautiful about it. In years, it's been years since all of I and I sat down together, and it was not a chaotic vibe. 12 Tribe was at the table, Nyabingi was at the table, Bobo Ashanti was at the table, Benevolent Society at the table, then a POL Foundation at the table, School of Vision was at the table, House of Dread was at the table, bless Ras Percy soul. He just passed on the other day. He was a strong advocate for unity as well, must speak of I and I, brethren. But we were all at the table and we all were discussing our thing and we came up with a plan. We came up with a way in which we could monitor them to make sure that they did not use our culture in any negative way. We agreed on the approach financially, what we would settle for, and how many years we would give them the freedom to use it for, and what would be done at the end of that period. We would sit at the table and renegotiate by seeing how it worked for them. If it was successful and fruitful, then they would have to increase, our benefits and so forth. So everything was going along at a nice pace and a togetherness. And there came the RMC with their handful of dissemblers to interject into it by contacting IOJ to say that no other entity can represent the IP rights except them. And right away now, IOJ, knowing the history or the perception that has been painted by politicians and others who benefit from it, of the disunity, right away them say, well, they don't want to be caught in anything. They don't want to be caught in any bad publicity or anything. So immediately they pulled out of it and used a different name to establish their thing. See? Now, not only did we lose a financial prospect,
that's interesting,
but we also lost a precedence that would have been set. Because if we were able to broker that deal, there would have been a precedent set where we could now go after China and all of these other companies that are pirating the Rastafari IP rights. So that would have set an official precedence, giving us room now, a door open in which to step into that legal framework and demand from entities out there now. Yeah. From entities out there that are benefiting from I&I rights. But because of their interjection, them thwart I&I prospect. So here again now shows you the need for an RMO. Because if at the time there was a RMO seated like, oh, this one is legally seated and is endorsed by the most amount of I&I as Rastafari, then they could have interceded and say to IOJ, no, we are the legal voice that represents the masses of Rastafari. So we are speaking on behalf of Bobo Ashanti, 12 Tribes of Israel, Theocracy,
everybody,
XYZ. And that would not have happened. And today we would have been much further in our development than we are. Yes, my Lord.
I hope was that clearly. Yes, I hope that clear. Okay, positive. I mean, give thanks again for the words and give thanks for all knowledge going forward. Yes, my Lord and my Lord. So even before we seal up then, again, futuristically, so an individual listening to us, yeah, man, this sounds good. I would like to be a part. I would like to assist. Somebody may say, hey, I wonder what I could do to join this, because I love to hear the Bobo them talk. I ain't no Bobo, but I hear they talking about the unity. Because as you said, it's enough Rastas that not a part of anything, anything at all. Them they just come around. They're not legally with nobody, but them is Ras, and you cannot take away the glory from them. You know what I mean, in this kind of geopolitical world we live in. So if an individual want to be a part of it, what would they do? Any help, any guide, anyone they would have to contact? I'm not sure if a website set up as yet, any email. They want to be a part. They may not be in Jamaica. Hey, I in Guyana, I all the way in Suriname, I in Peru. I want to be a part of this group because down here I could, help to spread the word. I could do something. What would an individual do to be a part of this?
Priest Lamont.
I'm just going to say I did yourself, Priest Lamont.
Priest Lamont.
Yes, my Lord. All right. We are in the process of establishing, well, there is a website established. And I am sure that the next time we speak on the precise acts, I'll give that information. It's not right in my head. Sorry for my unpreparedness for this question. But of course, it's not hard to contact. Almost everyone everywhere knows a Rastafari brethren sister in Jamaica. And every upfront or known Rastafari in Jamaica now is aware of the RMO. So it's not very hard to contact the RMO different individuals at the moment.
Well, when you give me that website, I will surely share it.
I sure will. I'll call you tomorrow some contact information apart from my own information out there at one and priest document. Like I said, the is being voiced far and wide, and the ones will, as you have heard the Honorable Priest Dougie said, all the upfront missions and organizations are in it, and all their members know about it. Of course, in most of the various the long-term management organization, you have the semblance. So it's not impossible that they ask about the album and they may hear and
let me ask
some kind of.
This is a quick question. So the RMO, as it relates to things like, for example, the coronation of the emperor coming up and so these things, the RMO would take a lead, or okay, let me not say lead. Will the RMO be doing any sort of activities around these celebration days, or do we just leave that to the individual mansions, etc.? But this, I mean, there's never enough, you know. Ras is always looking for somewhere to go, so yeah. But anyway, tell me.
Yeah, but we would suggest that those days, the holy days remain as they are. You know, mansions have they reverence those holy days, so the mansions should have that opportunity to do their thing.
Okay.
You know, there are different days now where unity, you know, can be used as a collective, you know, gatherings, you know, some form of event. You know, like May 25th, we don't know, so that is a united moment in our history as African.
In Antigua, when you see the 23rd, and it's coming from a long time, even before Bobo was so strong, when you see the 23rd, like, man, screw with you if you're going to try to have your own thing, eh? It's like if it's some kind of culture here, like, races must come together in Antigua at the Hakim when it's the 23rd. So, man, we tell you, look, if you're having a service, do that the night before Rastas, the 23rd. We have to gather together. All races must meet here. And we humble to that, you know. We humble the Bobo do their presentation, the Bingy do their presentation, even the Orthodox Church come and say a thing. So I was just asking on that level.
I am telling you that this is something that RMO is discussing. And as Rastafari said, you know, it's an age-long practice. Different functions and organizations have celebrations, but we are of course discussing a united gathering of all the managers and organizations. You know, that's not going to be very, very easy, and it's still not difficult now. We are so gel together, but it's in the making, and it's going to happen very soon. As a matter of fact, it's being looked at for the 100 centenary coronation celebration.
7 years from now, eh?
It's in the making, and I'm sure it's quite soon, where we all get together, you know, in Friday.
Hey, we supposed to be rocking massive big in Ethiopia 7 years from now. No? The King Coronation 100 shouldn't meet us slipping at all. Eh? Must say, even myself, man, my focus is on that. Yeah, 7 years from now. True Majesty, any sealing words? Any sealing words on this subject? Oh, before anyone say any sealing word, before you say any sealing words, I just want to remind the family. This is just a quick jump forward again to the Elders Council, the Council of Elders for the EABIC. Remember, the fundraising is still on. I know we're recording this, but this is going to be premiered tonight, you know. So those of you who are watching, the fundraising is still on for tomorrow, the 25th. Let me make sure I have the date correct. Yes, the 25th of October, especially the family in Trinidad. Eh? The fundraising is still on, so let's remember we still have to go and support Empress Hosanna, Empress Nicole, Priest Aswad. You know, even now as I'm speaking to you, because we had a little contact with the family today, so they are right now preparing for those who will be coming tomorrow. Again, those in Trinidad, it's Kuripi.
On Thursday, tomorrow and Thursday.
Tomorrow and Thursday. Okay, so you have the both
tomorrow.
days.
Tomorrow for those that have already purchased and supported. Thursday for the elders of Bobo Ashanti and others who are going to be benefactors of the international support. But I who is outside, who have purchased tickets, those food will be going to the elder Bobo Ashanti and elder and just the family in general, but specifically the elders.
Family, you see them numbers here. These what was Trinidad area code again? 868, right?
Yes, sir.
Family, look at them numbers here, man. Go on WhatsApp, call them, ask, hey, this is the number I see on Priest Isaac channel. I want to assist. You don't have to call me, you know, I'm not collecting. You see all these numbers here? Call, WhatsApp. Let's connect, man. We can't be so timid. We understand what's going on. It's us, you know. It's I and I, you know. It's not like if we here advertising to somebody else. It's I and I. It's we have to help one another. Let's just be straight. So even if you're not in Trinidad, as I said the previous time, you can call any of these numbers, 366-3884-309-7170, 376-1111. This is not 20 years ago. Just put in the area code. 868 is Trinidad area code. Put in the area code, and I know the WhatsApp going to appear. Don't tell me you don't have no money on the phone. You can talk to Empress Hosanna or Empress Nicole or whoever on the other side. Hey, man, I'm Rastafari. I would like to support. And that's it. I don't have to be the...
And it's just a $10 family. It's just $10. You know, it's just a $10.
Right. And again, for those in Trinidad, the Panyard, you know, tomorrow and Thursday. Yeah, man, let's do it, man. I mean, come on. It's not... Let's just... I like to think very optimistic, but let's just be honest. It's not no $1 million we're raising here, man. We can do this. We should be raising millions. But I just looking at it realistically. Every little count, man. That's the point I was making.
Yes, well, I'll wrap up, my lad. I'll wrap up and leave the last say to Priest Lamont because I have another engagement.
Yeah, but, man, and I smell my dinner too. Go ahead.
I will say this to the listening audience. Apart from the RMO, there is the Council of Elders of the EABIC, which is a relatively new entity, just been seated now, going 8 months. I've had its challenges within that 8 months and survived. Both Priest Lamont and I are part of that council. Now, why I bring this up it's in the same sentiment of unity. Now, because of what all of I and I as Bobo Ashanti know has been happening since 1994, May 31, after I and I father transcended, it becomes necessary now, almost 30 years later, for the senior members who walked with the man and was taught by the man and trained by the man to now sit in council to bring some civility to the chaos that has been taking place within the foundation. As everyone knows, there were certain murders and kidnapping up there recently at Bobo Hill. And there's a lot of things been going on worldwide. We are not the only entity. Rastafari is not the only entity struggling with the negative element of today. Racism has shown its head on a level. The colonial forces are fighting for their life because their time is coming to an end abruptly and quickly. So all kinds of things is happening. Now, the Council of Elders of Bobo Ashanti have found it necessary to seat themselves as the moral voice of this Congress. And there has been some negative voices echoing out there, some empty barrels that have been echoing their voice out there.
From the last time we do this legal reasoning?
Yes.
Oh, man.
There have been some negative elements, you know, especially, and I will call name because I am who I am. I am not afraid to call name. There's a sister, I call her a minion there in New York, called CC, who constantly pushes up her head and gets involved.
Call who? I miss the name, honestly.
Empress, well, I won't call her Empress, her sister named Cece.
Cece, okay.
She calls herself Cece. And a lot of ones know her. She's on the social media talking up her sound a lot. But she's a dissembler. You never hear her talking about unity. Everything she has never lived a day on the foundation. She doesn't know anything about Baba Ashanti Liberty. She's a Johnny come lately. And she disrespects the elders that have walked with the man for many, many, many years. People that have built this Congress and who show that this Congress stands today. Those brethren sit in this council and they found it necessary to sit in the council because they see that it is the only way for I and I to rectify things, to sit as a brother within the brotherhood and sisterhood, as the Father taught us. Now, one is saying, Jah never left no council, the Constitution don't speak about council. Come on, I want our family to stop being illiterate. Stop acting willfully ignorant. The elders that were around the Father were a council of elders. We may not have formalized it and called it that at that time. But when you look, it was Priest Brownie who was the Father's right hand. Priest T, seeing Empress Aljita, Priest I, and I can go down the list. Those were the ones that dealt with the Father's affairs. And they have been replaced by other elders over time. So it has been the elders who have been the custodians of this liberty from the Father's time until now. So if the elders today step out of their comfort zone and say, well, today we are seating officially, we are making this official. We are today the Council of Elders, and we are here to establish the moral standards of the Congress. What is negative in that? What is there to oppose? Unless you're an enemy of I liberty, unless you're an enemy of King Emmanuel. The Council of Elders is here to re-establish what King Emmanuel set up. And to say to the family, all fractions need to come together and to find back that first love that brought us to the man, that we can do the job of the man and fulfill the man's mission. So anyone that stands in the way of unity today, you're an enemy to I and I, because the Emperor Haile Selassie I says, unity is the only accepted goal. Give thanks, family.
Yes, my Lord. Give thanks for such words on, and of course, clarity is necessary so we know exactly where we are. Honorable Priest Laman, just give me your sealing words, and we'll bid the family a blessed evening here.
Thanks, Honorable President. You know, all that is to be said has been said, and I would say I want to take recognition of what the brethren that I heard Priest Dougie mention him, and I have to mention him too because he was one of the mentors of the Honorable, and that is the Honorable Rastafari who passed. And we know Jah is this guiding light then and now. So, you know, we just give credit to Honorable Rastafari. And I just want to brief to what Honorable Rastafari said, Priest Dougie, that ones need to stop acting willfully dunce. It's time we get away from how the society is coming towards fully done and mad, and them are mad smaddy. I don't realize how dangerous those words and this kind of ideology that they are pushing. They don't realize the danger of it. But I'm saying to people, Marcus Garvey said, intelligence rules the world and ignorance bears the burden. So that being willfully ignorant, ignoring the facts and the truth and the reality, you're a danger to your own self. I say you're a dagger to your own heart. You know, so and I don't see that this council is just seated to do the moral standards of King Emmanuel Charles Edwards, the Lord's servant, and the RMO is here to unite or unite and gel and build Rastafari liberty as one. So that's all we are doing. We are reaching out with love, with passion, with truth, with honesty, with logics, right? You know, the I and I as Rastafari get together, come together, stick together. Let's do this. If it's our life and our liberty and our government, let's do it with our might and let's do it right. Give thanks, Honorable Priest Isaacs, for inviting us on the phone tonight. Again, blessed.
True, my Lord. Give thanks, Honorable Priest, and of course, give thanks to the Honorable Priest Dougie as well. There's more life and more guidance, my Lord. Selassie Jah.
Rastafari.
My Lord, give thanks. So give thanks again, Honorable Priest Douglas Smith and Honorable Priest Norman Lamont. This evening, wearing some different turbans, if you want to say. They were representing the RMO, Rastafari mansions and organizations. I myself learning a bit about it even this evening. I must say a lot's going on in the Rastafari world. Give thanks to those brothers and the sisters who are doing their best to bring forth a unity. And of course, you know, as the Father teaches, teeth and tongue does come together, you know, but I mean, it's all about unity and love. And I myself would be an advocate for us trying our best to, you know, ease off of the bickering and whatever else would come when others are trying to do something positive. If a person objects, I mean, we have to be able to kind of sit around the table and reason the thing out properly, for sure. You know, I'm not an advocate at all of turning these social platforms into, you know, I mean, SummerSlam or WrestleMania. So as much as we can, let's be civilized in front of the rest of the world. Hey, family, let me just remind you that on the 5th of November, we're going to be having a gathering, a reasonment. Rasta Roundtable meets Welcome to the House of Priests. Honorable Priest Lamont will be with us. Honorable Priest Imesley would be with us, and a few other members. Well, of course, Honorable Kess Westmore, the host of Welcome to the House of Priests, and of course, the whole Rasta Roundtable crew will be there, and we will be talking about basically a similar conversation, Rastafari going forward, and we'll be talking about our economic state of affairs, and then we are also going to be speaking about our theological state of affairs. You know, Rasta is state and church, really, you know, that kind of way. So that is what is going to fuel the discussion. So family, I give thanks for your presence with us. Give thanks to the life giver and the keeper of life. I'm just going to encourage you to press the link in the description below and find your way to Radio Anu. A lot of things are taking place there, a lot of information. The conversation continues. Of course, you know, that is the hub. And don't forget, the 5th of November is Patreon's Day. I will seal this up here. Praise Farai. Let the earth hear his voice. King Selassie Jah. Rastafari. Blessed love.